Right now, it's time for the Dallas Cowboys news of the day ahead of mandatory minicamp. And as you guys all know, this will be the most vital 3-day span, maybe, of the entire Cowboys
This could be the pivotal moment in the season for the Cowboys.
So pivotal. And I believe it was Clarence Hill this morning who was reporting that George Pickens is going to show up for mandatory minicamp. Is he going to do anything? Don't know. And as Dak Prescott already pointed out, he was like, this is per John Machota, you should probably temper your expectations because they don't want him to do too much. And all of a sudden he suffers a setback or some type of an injury. And then all of a sudden he's going to go into training camp with some type of an issue. So just remember that when everyone tells you how vital this mandatory minicamp is.
Well, and also, Kevin, this is a vital season for George Pickens again, right? And
true. He sure has shown it so far.
But at the same time, an injury can ruin the entire season for him.
Sure.
And so, right now, he's like, I have to weigh my options of, do I want to go out there and be a leader or risk the injury?
Right.
And I just that's the balance that he's trying to, that him and his crew, his agency are all doing the same thing of, we can't risk this. It's less for that. So
do you think that the Cowboys do themselves a continual disservice by just expecting someone to become a leader when they pay him? Let's say that this season goes well, and George Pickens turns out to just be awesome at football yet again. Does not particularly show a whole lot of leadership skills.
Right.
The Cowboys are going to, assuming the Cowboys paid him a lot of money, then they'll be like, well, we expect you to be a leader. But why? What has led you to believe that just because you pay him a lot of money to be awesome at football, that they'll naturally become a leader?
Oh, I mean, that's the same thing happened with Elvis, right?
Yes.
He got paid, and then this came into spring training, and everybody was like, oh, he looks different right now.
Yeah.
And Ian Kinsler, he was like, I don't want to lead. I just want to play baseball. Even though he had kind of this natural thing about him that people gravitated to, he didn't want to. That is part of the thing, Kevin. When I look at how captains are named in soccer sometime, I'm like, that's not the best player on the team that's the captain. What is it that he did? He works a certain way. And the manager recognizes it, the team recognizes it, right? I think the leadership part of it, that makes itself. The whole team knows who is doing it. The owner doesn't have to say, I'm paying you and now you have to do that. But I do think that there are definite expectations of when you're getting this money, you do need to meet these criteria. I don't think that the leadership part of it is necessarily the thing. Michael was a different story, though. Right, Michael was the guy that was like, I'm going to be. I want to be.
Right.
But then you traditionally would look and be like, is he doing the things that he says he wants to do? But I do hope Pickens gets there and does his stuff and they feel comfortable that this is a non-issue for the season or training camp.
Yeah, I just hope I don't actually really care if he's at mandatory minicamp or not. I hope he stays healthy, like you said, and then balls out during the season, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking. I mean, hey, remember, he doesn't even need to be a leader.
Yes, agree.
Dak's the leader on both sides of the ball. I don't remember if you remember that or not. Jerry told us last year, he's the leader.
Man, that was a fun thing. We asked who are the defensive leaders, and he goes, Dak's a heck of a leader. And I was like, what is this, Jackson Smith and Jigba deal where you get sent the Defensive Player of the Year award? Come on. Now, a couple of things, and I saw this, and I didn't realize maybe that the number was this high. Dallas has 15 new faces on their defense. 8 free agent signings, 2 trades, and 5 draft picks. So they've added 15 players to the defense. Some of them, obviously, we have significantly higher expectations than others. So that's always going to lead to somewhat of a learning curve. But I will say this, while I'm jokingly taking shots, and sometimes not so jokingly, at OTAs and mandatory minicamp, is Christian Parker said, I think we've got a very urgent group. And a group that's hungry for knowledge and hungry for getting pushed, and we want them to have that collective success. So it seems like an awesome combination for the Cowboys to have this many new players, and one of the things that Christian Parker immediately says is, it seems like they are very urgent and want to get stuff done really quickly. That is no doubt a positive.
I loved this quote from Tommy Yarish regarding Christian Parker. We're still in the undergraduate phase.
Ooh, okay.
We were in phase 2. I was like, we're trying to figure out if the meal card works, where can I park for 15 minutes without getting towed,
Right.
all those
Man,
things.
what a valuable.
Now we're still in the freshman and one-on-one level. We're starting to get to sophomore year, if you will, and then during training camp, we need to quickly be able to graduate with a master's degree in a 5-year program. That's how we see the urgency.
Right.
So to go along with that urgency,
that's a good
this
quote.
this is what the rookie mini camps, the OTAs, all these things, the mandatory, the non-mandatory, leading to when we get to training camp, we need to be, once that's done, season starts, we need to be at our best. We can't be saying from week 1 on we'll still continue to do this. We need to be say we're masters of this thing altogether.
Now, I want to take just a step back because a couple of people threw out a couple of like Pickens-esque thoughts from the 903. And I actually think this is maybe more about the Cowboys than Pickens. I think there's a difference between a leader and example. I think after you pay people, you should at least expect them to be a good example. So a couple of different things at play here. George Pickens believes, and his camp believes, he has not gotten paid. Now, I know us regular folks will be like, you're getting $27.3 million. In what universe are you not getting paid? In the universe in which you can easily pick up $150 million at that position. So George Pickens in his camp does not believe they have been paid. Now, if they're just talking in general about how when the Cowboys pay people, I agree, but that's not what Jerry says. That's not what Steven says. They talk about expecting them to be leaders, not just leaders by example. And that's what I've always thought was a foolish line of thinking. And then from the 915, you don't have to be vocal to be a leader. You just have to show the people the right way to do things by your actions. And look, I have talked about it, and if people don't agree with me, that's totally fine. I think George Pickens has made a fundamental mistake by not being here. Like, if you look at Overshown at training camp last year, I realized that he was hurt, but he was doing everything he could to, like, be a cheerleader for this team. I think Pickens, even if he was going to do, like, a sit-in or whatever a hold-in, that he could still be there and still be supportive, even if he was like, I'm not going to risk the physicality or anything of getting injured. I think he's already made a mistake by missing some of these things.
And the reasoning for you saying that is he is under different circumstances than somebody else.
Exactly.
Whether
you think that's fair or not, that's the way the Cowboys view it.
Whatever happened in Pittsburgh and some of the things that happened in Georgia whenever he was in college put in the minds of people out there that this guy there's a little bit of flakiness sometimes, maybe. Like there's some idea that he's not going to give everything that he's got and that he could be a problem.
And that does seem to be the way the rest of the league might think based on lack of contractual interest.
He comes in here last year, performs really well, so well that everybody loves him. They're just like, that's what why? And you know what? For the most part, aside from maybe being late to a few meetings and what was the Vegas situation
with CD was also part of.
Other than that, didn't hear much, right? It was just like, dude, thanks for the performance. Everybody on the team seems to love the guy. All right, now it's time for me to get my contract. And the rest of the league, as you just pointed out, said, we're still not sure.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys said, well, we're not going to overpay ourselves. Like, we're not going to go out there and outbid ourselves for the guy. So we'll let you figure out what the market says. Well, the market just told you that they're still waiting on you too. And Jerry thinks that he keeps saying, and if he puts together the type of season he put together last year, that money's going to go up for him, not down.
And I might have misinterpreted, like, that they're just giving lip service to, oh, hey, you got to be Mr. Good Guy, Mr. Team and everything, when really what they mean is, hey, just have another great season and we'll give you the money.
And mostly unproblematic season.
Exactly. And I just would have thought if he would have shown up and he was like, hey, team, let's get after it today in these vitally important OTA practices and everything like that. Like, just having him in the room would have kind of like put him as more a part of the culture. And it would have been just like a little bit of an olive branch. But maybe their team looks at it as simple as, who cares? Get 1,400 yards and 9 touchdowns and you're set.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what else happens.
At this point, I think the defense needs to create the culture. The offense is going to be kind of the same. And not just on paper, but as the players. The players are pretty much the same dudes. Except for maybe you add a little Jay Blue in there.
Right.
But the defense has a lot of growing they have to do real quick together and gelling so that they can make sure they're like all on the same page because, as you just pointed out, a bunch of different faces.
Now, a couple of other things for you. Kobe Durant, we all learned that his actual name is Jacoby.
Mm-hmm. It's on his nameplate, yeah.
Yeah, and no, I'm fine, thank you. And growing up, his parents called him Kobe. It just kind of stuck into adulthood, but I like that he said that. But he has talked about early on the challenges and I think enjoyable role of being
playing the nickel.
Yes, being in the nickel, being in the slot, and I think that's positive. And then one more thing to take a look at, if you care about such things, and why the heck would you not, is with Matt Hennessy suffering the neck injury, is TJ Bass back to backup center in addition to other spots that he can fill. I do think that's another thing that you kind of see in some of these OTAs, and like, see if that continues going forward.
Yeah, you take for granted sometimes the consistency that you're kind of getting at your center spot whenever you have it. You kind of forget about it, and then all of a sudden you're like, what is our backup situation? And if you don't address it, and if you don't make sure you're on top of it, it can be a problem real fast for you.
And mandatory minicamp begins tomorrow.